It was 5 a.m. The door came off, the police ran in my house screaming at me to get on the floor. They took all my phones, all my money, destroyed my business, and then left me. And at that moment I realised that my life was never going to be the same again. The problem was I'd been sober for 6 months, but I hadn't had an emotional stimulus like that in that time period, so it was untested. And clearly, I still didn't know how to deal with my problems other than seeking comfort. So there we were, back smoking again every single fucking day. That was how my day would start. Wake up, roll a massive joint, try and make myself feel good, try and make myself feel comfortable. And this cycle continued probably for 30 days. The problem was my life was getting worse every single day that I did this. I was neglecting myself, I wasn't training, I was barely eating. I was literally just sitting in my house, getting stoned out of my mind, playing PlayStation. And it must have been around the 30-day mark that I realised this is where my life's going to stay unless I do something. And I remember this day so vividly. I promised myself I was going to make a change. And that day I woke up, I smoked a joint. I sat there probably from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. staring at the fucking floor with my head in my hands the whole day. And I realised in that moment, if I don't change, this is my life and it's only going to get worse. So I went to bed with the promise in my mind, tomorrow is going to be different. I woke up that next day, I didn't smoke. I got straight in the car, drove to Carphone Warehouse, got 2 iPhones on contract, and I said to myself, you're putting your life back together. The next day, literally, I was straight back in the gym. I designed myself a meal plan, I started following my meal plan, and I structured my day around training and nutrition. And imagine, I'm living like a bodybuilder, but in reality, I'm just doing a bit of crime to get by, because as I said, they destroyed my business, so I had no choice but to go back on the crime thing. I was trying to get legit, I was trying to fucking stay sober, and when this happened, I just didn't know how to deal with my problems other than going back to what I did before. So I was back on the roads, back doing my thing, back smoking, but I had this new little structure of centering my day around training, my meals, and recovery. And this became like the backbone for my new life. So after a month of this, of actually living properly and being good, I felt good again. And life had started to move in the direction that I wanted to. Then I remember one day, I dropped my friend home. I'm outside Sainsbury's. I just got myself some fucking milk for my protein shake in the morning. And this girl walks past and I'm like, damn, she looks fine as fuck. The long story short is, it was my girlfriend, and we met a few days later and we've been inseparable ever since. And this is the crazy part about the story. Where I was at that point in my life was such a crossroads, and she held that mirror up to me and she was like, Jackson, listen, I like you a lot, but you can do better than this crime thing, you know, that's just like the step one for you. And I agreed with her. I was reluctant. I didn't want to leave my life of crime, really, because I'd got back into the swing of it. I was like, man, this shit ain't so bad. I got some money again. I'm looking after myself the way that I know how. But deep down, I knew I was being called for something greater. So I started looking into what I could do. I started taking a step back from the crime thing, and she got me a job with a man that she knew digging on a building site. So imagine this, I'm a grown-ass man turning up to work as a labourer on a building site in a 3-litre BMW for £90 a day, probably looking crazy, but I needed to do it. It was the first time that I'd really worked in my whole life. You know, I'd done a month here and a month there, and then I'd always just gone back to what I knew, but I was determined this time to change my ways. So I've started working on the building site, I'm digging for £90 a day, and I'm saving my money so that I can pay bills at home, but also so that I can invest into a personal training course. And that's exactly what I did. I invested into the level 2 course, I completed that. I invested into the level 3 course, I completed that. And there I was, a qualified personal trainer. I'd managed to get myself sober maybe in like the last month of doing that. And then the gym that I was training at the time, they'd put out that they needed someone to work on the desk. So I was like, perfect, this is my opportunity to get in there. So I got the job on the desk, graveyard shift, I started waking up at 4 a.m. to go and open the gym. Then I made friends with the right type of people. I got around a life coach. He put me on to meditation. He put me on to journaling. And all of these things started to come clearer in my mind. If I center my day around these things, all the negative thoughts, they fall away. If I center my day around these things, I start to actually live as the man that I want to become. And every day that I did that, I started closing the gap between who I was and who I wanted to be. I did my first diet phase. In those 90 days, I got sober. I lost 17 kilos in 80 fucking 3 days. And, of course, I showed up as the man that I wanted to become. Now, when I'm working at this, on the desk at this gym, I'm meeting people, they're seeing how I can help them. So loads of people are joining FMF, and I'm coaching, I'm personal training. And then I realised the biggest impact that I can actually have on people is through the whole thing that changed my life, which was actually structure. Like, going to the gym is incredible, don't get me wrong. But if the rest of the time in the week you're doing all sorts of shit that you shouldn't be doing, the gym ain't really going to save you. So I started structuring people's days and lives for them, and they see the impact that it was having. I got a few guys sober, I got guys in good shape, and I realised, okay, this is my calling. And I named it alignment, because once you get your training, mindset, nutrition and habits in alignment with who you want to become, it's just a matter of time before you're them. So I repeated this for a year, you know, working hard, building my business and working at the gym on the desk. And after that year, me and my girlfriend decided that we was going to move to Spain. So that's what we did. Then we went and lived in Spain. That was beautiful for those first 3 months. Then we went and lived in Thailand for a year. Then we lived in Albania. Then we lived in Thailand again. And now we're back in the UK, getting ready for something bigger, but more on that in the future. Now, the reason I wanted to share this story with you is because if you set your mind to something and you put the daily habits in place that would make it true, as you've just seen from my story, I went from being a fat career criminal that smoked weed every day to becoming a fucking sober alignment coach who's in great shape literally within a year. And I moved to Spain. Fuck. When I even say it out loud, it sounds crazy, because the man that I was at the start of that journey could have never pictured any of that. But that is all possible once everything's in alignment. So just know right now, if you're at a place where you feel stuck, maybe you're in a rut, maybe you're a bit lost, I know that fucking feeling. I've dropped my full blueprint, every single thing that I did, down below for free. It's in the description. It's called the 90-day reset. So I would suggest that you join that. And if you want to work with me one-to-one, click the link under that. So that's my story of how I got sober and rewrote my entire fucking life in a year. You can do the same. All it takes is 90 days. Let's get to work, bro.